What's up, everyone? Welcome to Pizza Roundtable, part of the Pizza Club Network, where we host some of your favorite pizza personalities from all around the world. Like I said, you're here tonight for Pizza Roundtable, where we talk about some of the biggest pizza news of the week. I'm your host, Will Dumas, and I'm joined by my co host tonight, Jim Mumford. Jim is both a cookbook author and a writing contributor for the media publication Inside Hook. Jim, what's up, man? Welcome. How are you doing tonight?
Hey, good evening, Will. How are you, bud?
Doing great, man. I'm doing great as always. Listen, I think we got a lot of jam-packed items to talk about today,
Oh, we got
so
some
let's
gems tonight.
let's just jump right into it, right? So, first up, might as well hit the biggest like ranking article, quote unquote, that there is. This one
Oh yeah.
is from Yelp that just came out. Top 100 pizza spots according to Yelp Elites. So, Jim, are you a Yelp leader? I don't know if you're an eliter, elitist. How do you, whatever you might be.
I, I'm not a Yelp dude, but I gotta tell you, I think they nailed this list. So I'm excited you had this one. This is great.
All right. Listen, I'm so glad we're on the opposite sides of the coin already here to start off with. I'll tell you
Ooh,
that. So, I'll
fantastic.
listen. I'll let you open it then with the number one
Sure.
spot on top.
One of my favorites, Pequods from Chicago. Um, so those who aren't familiar or who don't watch The Bear, Pequods is kind of a mashup between a pan pizza, a Chicago deep dish, and Detroit. It is one of my favorite pizzas on this planet. It's unlike any other. I wouldn't call it pan. I wouldn't call it stuffed. But the name that number one, I would be hard pressed to find one better than that. Will, your thoughts?
Okay. So, listen, I've never had it, right? So it's hard for me to comment in that perspective. I would say I struggle with the style of pizza that necessarily made it to the top. Um, and I'm going to throw in my own personal opinion here. I'm interested in how much the bear actually influenced this decision because I want to say I don't
Ooh,
know if we would have been on top of the list like this, and they pretty much cleaned up on like all the award shows, right? That they were at. So
all
that's
of
for
them.
sure. So I'm wondering if there's a bump from that, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll buy that. Their top 100 take them from 20 to one, maybe. But no, I that's a great point, right? You know, they definitely in the media, and that said, those who know been high on Pequods for a while. So I'll give you there's some shuffling. Thing I was surprised about is how many California restaurants were in like the top 20. I was blown away.
But I feel like we've been talking about California pizza a bunch lately too, right?
A
It's
lot,
interesting. Let
right?
me give the background real quick for the list in general.
Let's
So
do it.
I always appreciate it when someone at least gives somewhat of a data component, right, to how they came up with this. So in general, the Yelp team here lists out quote unquote how we did it. This is an all-time list of top pizza spots in the US, according to Yelp Elites. We identified businesses in the pizza category on Yelp, then ranked those spots using a number of factors, including the total volume and number of five-star reviews each business had that were written by members of the Yelp Elite Squad. All businesses were marked open on Yelp as of December 5th. And when available, all businesses on the list had a passing health score as of December 5th.
Yeah.
So, okay. I mean, so sounds like if
Yeah.
you passed your health inspection and you had a five-star review, it's really how well you did on Yelp, right? I mean, simple as that from particularly
Yeah.
from individuals that are part of or denoted as Yelp
Elite.
Elite to do the ranking.
Right.
Um, so all right, let's peruse through a couple. I think as we come along here, and I'll say I don't know, man. I mean, I'm not gonna. It's tough, man. So
It is.
Pequods we talked about. Bestia gets a lot of press. A great spot in
Does
LA. The top second, I don't know. And then this is where it starts to go down. And Nelson, I'm a nostalgia guy. I'm a particular fan of Lombardi's. I've been there numerous times while growing up, and I enjoy taking people there if I'm in the area. It's fun. I love the pepperoni that they do. Number three, I Maybe I'm not fully digesting that this is an all-time list. You know what I mean, Jim? I
All-time
don't
list, right?
know. So it's like the greatest of the greats type thing, I guess. So that's just tough for me from a starting point there.
And listen, I'll defer to you on the New York ones, right? Because you have experience. Again, another California 4, Lil Odd,
Yeah.
right? Lil Odd.
Agreed. Mama D's. I'm not familiar with this. 5. Let's go through the top 10. 5.
Yeah.
Base Camp Pizza Co. out of South Lake Tahoe, out of California as well. I'm not too familiar with them. Secret Pizza in Las Vegas definitely has gotten a lot of
Familiar with them.
attention as of
Lot of
lately.
press.
For sure. Definitely, I could see them being up there. Prince Street in New York, really a quality slice. Absolutely, I appreciated that. It makes
Of course.
the list. Alio E. Pew. I wasn't familiar with this one at all, or Olio, sorry, Olio EPU. I didn't know it. That's PIU for reference, if I'm saying that right to everyone. I didn't know them. And then Monkey Pod Kitchen by Merryman, and that's in I think it's Kapoli, Oahu in Hawaii at number
Yep.
9. And finally, rounding it out, it is Cocina Urbana in San Diego, California. So I mean, I don't know, man. California's right up there with New
What?
York, running the list.
Yeah, that again, there's some regionality of that, but that surprised me. That's the one thing on this list, Mike. Really, because I think if you were ranking right pizza places, I don't know that necessarily you'd have half from California, but I don't know. Pequod's at 1. I get some other on the list, right? Peace is one of my favorites. That was top 20 in Chicago. Yep. So I listen. You could have a million lists and a million different iterations, but I was surprised how my California. I'll certainly give you that.
Yeah, I guess thinking about it too. If we're technically thinking about it now, I actually, while I'm reading it, I kind of settling on me a bit more, thinking about number of 5-star reviews, right? Longevity. Obviously, there's going to be. I'm pointing out the obvious. There's going to be a bias to that by default, right? If you've been quality for a long time, if you're someone newer, man, that's quite a competition to kind of climb up that list. Then, so okay, maybe I appreciate the context a little bit more around that than thinking that way, perhaps. So sorry, apologies, Yelp. I was a little too critical, perhaps to start.
I think they got what they deserve. No, it's a fun article, and it's a slice of a slice of a slice of pizza opinion. But I'm happy to see one of my favorites on there, so I'm not going to hate on it too much.
Totally, I would agree. And so, listen, we're always happy to hear about the list. So, guys, if you find your favorite pizza spot or favorite location, is it missing something? Tell us about it. Happy to comment. Love to give your thoughts on it. Tell us, man. I'd love to talk. We'd love to talk pizza. Absolutely,
love it. It's what we're here for.
Exactly. All right, so let's keep in the realm here of I don't want to say particularly just lists, but it's called pizza data. And so this one is going to be out of List with Clever. And this one is the best pizza cities in America, the 2024 data. I will say I like this one. I like this little pizza map also that's kind of factored in here.
Map's cool.
Seems fun, right? I kind of like that one. So I had a quoted here. What's the best city for pizza in the U.S.? Step aside Chicago and New York. Denver is the best pizza city in America. Pizza restaurants in Denver are among the highest rated on Yelp, and their pizza prices are most affordable than most metros. Interesting. So I would say
listen. I've spent time in a lot of pizza cities. I wouldn't. This surprised me. This surprised me a lot, and maybe it's just there's a lot of pizza, but right. Denver has one kind of regional style, and it's really localized to a couple chains, right? It's not so. I was surprised by this. I guess
is this the braided doughs for the Colorado style?
Yeah, the Colorado Mao. It's like huge braided whole wheat dough, but like it's kind of like that's kind of like a Chicago deep dish, right? You only have it when people are in town, right? It's not the everyday pie. So again, surprised here, Denver. I would have expected maybe a Detroit, a Chicago, certainly New York, but not necessarily Denver. But hey, right? That I don't lie, and that's cool, right? It's cool that another city is kind of popping up. Maybe there'll be a Denver style we're talking about soon.
Yeah, that's fair. And so, just for reference, guys, everyone in general, this is clever real estate, right? That's where the rankings come from. And so, the basis behind it, they did give some metrics. So, pizza reputation based on a survey of 1,000 Americans, rate of pizza restaurants per 100,000 residents, pizza passion as a criteria based on local internet search activity for 34 pizza related terms, i.e., pizza near me, pizza delivery, pan pizza, average Yelp ranking, average price of a large cheese pizza, average price of a large pepperoni pizza, share of medium annual income required to purchase one cheese pizza per week. Same equivalent for purchasing one pepperoni as well. So listen, there's definitely some serious stats behind this pizza. And all right, man, good. Listen, I'll give a quick
Yeah.
snapshot here of the, let's say, top 10. I'll get your initial thoughts, Jim, on any of these other ones
Sure.
that fit the bill, being Buffalo, number 2, Boston, Philly, San Diego, San Fran, Hartford, Washington, Detroit, and Pittsburgh. I'm
I
the
also
outlier here looks like I don't know. Sorry, I'm giving you the opportunity that I'm taking it away from you. The
no
opportunity
take,
of
take it, take it.
Washington. I don't know about. That was the outlier for me. I feel like otherwise we're getting a lot of like Philly or Pennsylvania. We have some California. I don't know. Go ahead, man. Take it. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you. I get Buffalo style, but I would have put probably 10 other cities on there besides these 10, right? I mean, Detroit
Fair.
certainly, but I was surprised, right? I would have put somewhere in New York, New Jersey on there, certainly. I would have, certainly Detroit. I would have put Chicago or somewhere. So, and I'm wondering if this is metro area and that's maybe part of it. I don't know. But again, surprised to see California make a list. Surprised to see, I don't know, interesting. Just again, data doesn't lie, but I Chicago 14, New York 15. I
I
don't
know.
know. And maybe there's an affordability and a sociological aspect to it. Maybe.
That's fair. I think New York definitely ranks up there with like per cost per slice
Yeah.
or cost per pie. So maybe they think there's some there's some benefit for other metro areas or other cities from that perspective on the cost basis. That probably brings them down. But New York and Chicago did crack the top 15.
So
But hey, all right.
hey,
Uh,
well,
um, one of the ones I'll highlight just for giggles here, Jim, the 10 worst ranking of that list. I'm interested here, guys. Memphis, Tennessee, San Antonio, Oklahoma City, Cincinnati, Charlotte,
mm,
Salt Lake City, Raleigh. On top of it, Houston, Louisville, and Kansas City. Man, my North Carolina not having a good representation here on
no,
this
taking the
list.
L on this one. I've been to a couple of these cities. This probably tracks. I don't know if in Cincinnati they put cinnamon on their chili or on their pizza like they do their chili, but I don't know. I think that probably tracks. Sadly,
Listen, I'm sadly no comment over here.
yeah.
There's some good pizza around me, and there's also some not good pizza. So I love everyone that makes good pizza. All right, cool. That was fun. That was interesting
Yeah,
on the list.
absolutely.
So let's focus on something, Jim, where you are the expert. Not that you're not an expert in pizza data,
Sure.
but I
This
found
one maybe.
I found this one kind of be the most interesting for you. Out of written out of Pizza Today. And this is something we've talked about a few times, and at least I brought up, and I know you're always commenting on, it, and I'm always asking the question: when does a pizza become a regional style? Something tells me that you might know something about regional pizza styles.
Just a little, just a little. I like this article. I think they nailed it. And without stealing the article's thunder, right there, there's a lot more that goes into a regional style than you would think. And we talk about the article, but for me, the key is there has to be multiple people doing something unique, right? If it's just one chain or one restaurant, that doesn't count. You need to be able to walk across the street and go to somebody else who's doing something kind of like it. And regional styles come out of a lot of things, right? Some are just a family that had 9 brothers. They all open pizzeria and their kids open pizzeria, and it's regional style, right? There's a lot of
Fair.
different ways, um but yeah, there's a lot that goes into me. It's gotta be well known. It's got to be a destination, and it has to be, some way widely known within the region.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, I truly appreciate that. I like the idea of that, being the idea of others are replicating it, right? So that kind of weans out a lot of, and not, I don't want to poo poo on anyone, right? We've seen a lot of these recent articles come up of people defining a regional style, and it seems to be one offering, right? Or one other spot
Yeah.
that did something we're trying to build it. So to your point, like, yeah, man, listen, if there's a whole block full, or you could be in an area and get the same equivalent or type of style, right, with their own variations, that's a good start. I'll highlight items from here from the article itself. Pizza Today reference geography is certainly the most important element of a regional pizza's definition. Um, Differentiation, they noted, is another important step in determining a regional style's definition.
Yep.
General. So those are two key critical components. I thought in general for that.
Yeah, Larry posts in the chat and makes a good point. When enough people post about it on Instagram, it becomes regional, and there's something to that, right?
Yeah.
If you look, we'll go back to Colorado style. There are a lot of people doing Colorado style, but it's so Instagrammable and it's been around for so long that's generational, where people see that they know that's Colorado style. So there might only be 2 or 3 pizza chains doing it, but it's so unique and it's so again Instagrammable. It's become its own thing. So there is something to that, right? And I do expect more regional styles to kind of pop up because of that, right? Variants of the Detroit and the Sicilian, just because, people are going to try to copy their brother, and you already kind of see it, right? With Detroit 2.0s and all the wild things going. So the one thing I love when you sent me this was California style probably doesn't fit any of these. And yet it still kind of counts, right? Because California style is more of a mindset than a recipe.
That's fair.
Right?
That's
so
fair.
I did laugh. It's like, well, there's an exception, and there's one that Will's gonna hop on anyway. So
I agree. That is like the one that I struggle with thinking is a style, right? Because it's quote unquote. I mean, well, listen, I'll let me finish it off and I'll get my thoughts on here. So they did note Pizza Day regional pizza style requirements. Origin: all regional pizza styles are tied to a specific birthplace. Differentiation must be unlike other styles in the area and unique from styles in other areas. Longevity requires decades of existence. That one I'm a little wiggle room on, but I can appreciate the spirit of where that's coming from. Critical mass, both in terms of number of pizzerias making the style and the population's acceptance. And then recognition. The strongest regional styles are referenced from beyond that region elsewhere. So great, good point, man. Right, and obviously it's just well written, great article, and by no other than Scott Wiener, as always, bringing the pizza knowledge in.
Bring it home.
But Jim, to that point, man, to your point from earlier, I'm with you that I appreciate you bringing up California because I struggle with it. And I noted here of these, there's no distinct mention of like you need to have a like unique or specific dough style or texture or specificity.
None of that here.
And for me, that is the biggest struggle that I go with for California style in general because there's not, when someone says it to me, I'm envisioning ingredients and toppings and region where it came from, but I'm not picturing the actual vessel that transports all of the flavor. The pizza underneath it is where I lose it, and that's what's tough for me.
Yeah, I get that, right? And there's always an exception to the rule, and they are, and I don't know. I think that's its own hour long show, right? Is kind of diving into this California account. But I thought it was a good article. I have kind of a good overview as someone who's dedicated the past several years to regional styles. We'll maybe talk on that in the future show, but I thought it was a good synopsis.
For sure, man. I great presentation and summary of it for sure. All right, let's get into some fun stuff here. I feel like we're not often talking a lot about seafood on pizza, and apparently we are as of like the past like couple weeks. So
yeah.
Right. This one is out of PMQ. And this is Anchovy Pizza about to make a big comeback? So Jim, I'll throw it to you first to think about anchovies in general. Are you a fan? And do you do them? Will you do them whole on stuff, or are you building? Are you one of the guys that builds flavors with anchovies? Tell me, how do you
I,
utilize
I love anchovies. I'm all about them. I'll do them any way I can get them. If for the kids, I'll probably build flavors in a sauce or something and hide them in. But I'm a huge fan. I don't know necessarily about to make a comeback, right? The whole anchovy is bold, probably more bold visually than it is, for flavor. But um, I like the idea, right? I like the anchovies in general in food are kind of swinging back. They're not this kind of gross, tinny thing that maybe our parents had. That there's really quality ones, that you can get locally. So I understand it, and yeah, listen. If pickles can make it, if wild toppings are kind of as big as ever, why not go to one of the OG toppings of anchovies?
Yeah, no, good point. And listen, I appreciate all of the quality tinned fish. I didn't
Yeah,
used to when I
you
was
do. You're in.
when I was a kid growing up. Probably not so much, but I've definitely gotten into them. And I'll highlight it here that PMQ is picking up on the quote unquote slice of the union, right? Which is the slice report that Slice put out. We've been highlighting a couple data points over the past couple
Oh
of
yeah.
weeks from there as well, and they're highlighting it here. And that last year Slice picked pickles to be one of the pizza toppings that's going to get a topping of 2023, right? Topping the pizza topping that's topping the list. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. And they noted pizza, pickled topped pizzas rose 32% in 2023. So if they are quoting anchovies as the comeback item, who are we to doubt? You Slice. Prove us wrong. I mean, I'm intrigued to see if this one picks up. Like, interesting, man. I sometimes I struggle with this one, and I don't know if it's gonna hit it. I'm with you on that one. Appreciative if it does. This one, I think
Yeah.
there's a higher version too, and I don't know if it's gonna be the same way as pickles were.
Yeah, and I think right, going back, there's an Instagram ability, right? Pickles on a pizza, they're new. Oh my gosh, pickles! But like anchovies, there's a preconceived notion, right? You see that you're not gonna have that same response. So I don't know. I'm not against it, right, food wise, but I don't know. We'll see. The proof is in the data, and we'll probably talk about it next year, whatever the next cool topping is.
The proof is in the dough, as the dough is proofing.
Oh,
Trying to make it better and
there's a
more proven.
T-shirt, bud. I'm
Yeah.
stealing that. I'm steal it, print. Done.
We got to patent all these ideas we're coming up with here,
Oh man, we
right?
got so many good ones.
All right, this one I feel like you've probably experimented with more than I have, and I've experimented on it once or twice for sure. So for this one, out of Food and Wine, pizza crust made with champagne isn't just a gimmick; it's scientifically better. Make a crispier, fluffier pizza by adding champagne, seltzer, or any other sparkling wine to your dough. I was thinking you might relate here from a beer perspective because I feel like you would have tried a beer dough before. But any thoughts on kind of the idea of adding carbonation to your dough in general, Jim, from your experience?
Yeah, so I've done beer before. I have a recipe, with beer. I actually won a pizza competition using champagne. It was sponsored by a
Get
winery.
out of here!
Champagne in the dough. Yeah, and it was pears and prosciutto and dates and a bubbly on it. It was very good. There's some caveats, right? It won't rise the
Okay.
same, right, with the alcohol and the sugars and the effervescence. So it has to be
Mhm.
something that's got to be like grilled or kind of a lower hydration. You kind of have to steer into that. This one wasn't grilled, so it's not a 1-for-1 sub. It's got to be
Okay.
formulated for it, but I'm here for it, right? The sugars, the complexity. Think of it more as you're not going to get the leavening from the yeast like you would, so you get from the bubbles itself.
Yeah.
A quick rise, but I'm all for it, right? Very complex, more of a kind of a flatbread feel to it, right? You would do it on Neapolitan, but it brings kind of another, when it hits the hot grates or whatever, it caramelizes and it's got really interesting notes. So yeah, I'm award winning with it and definitely all for it. But don't go subbing out your water and yeast for it. That might be a disaster.
Okay. I appreciate that. Congrats to you, man. I didn't know that. That's
Oh,
awesome.
nice.
But so in general, though, then which was my assumption, and I don't think the article specifically mentioned it, but we're talking quick rise doughs here. We're not talking 24-hour ferment dough or anything of the sort. This is
No.
we're using we're
It's not going to with alcohol.
Right, exactly. So we're making it
Right.
and we're using it. Right. Boom. That's it. So okay. All right.
Yeah, 1 to 2 hour just to let basically the glutens rest, but you're not really getting a rise. So that's the thing. Something like a grilled, a beets kind of thing where it's flat and hit hard and fast.
Okay.
Definitely good. So I happen to know where you could find a recipe where you could do that if you were googling. Such things. So.
What would one Google then to find this
It's just
recipe?
Jim Cook's Food Good. You find a grilled pizza recipe that had the exact award-winning pie. Uh, but no,
I love it,
it
dude.
is fun. And it is fun because I've played around with different champagnes and different sparkling wines, cava and proseccos and the dryness. And there's probably a book all in that, right? Is how to play
For
with
sure.
all those flavors. So.
All right. Well, listen, I'm sorry to take you down from such a high here. I've got an article that I think is going to be a tough one.
It's tough.
So
It's tough.
so this one here out of 1011now.com, and this is a bit of a follow through previously, guys. If anyone remembers, Casey's had an opening for a chief pizza and beer officer. And guys, I'm happy to announce that that position has been filled. Um, Jim, can you tell us about how you landed this job? Or it's not you.
You rub it in. Listen, hey, hats off to Mr. Cruz. Clearly, I've been bested by someone who's better. I'm not going to hold it against him. I will hold it against you, Casey's. Missed opportunity to have two of us. But no, how fun, right? And it just clear that I'm fun with it. I think we debated the seriousness of the role. And I think
Yes,
this article kind of highlights that it's a little more fun than it is an actual corporate position. So,
absolutely.
good Casey's, good PR. Still a little salty. Probably always going to be a little salty. But hey, there's always next year, right?
Listen, I'm just happy that they followed through on it. To be honest, like I love actually seeing
Yeah.
it come to fruition. Right? That hey, listen, we put this out there. It wasn't just a complete publicity stunt. Like we got a guy in the spot, a guy or gal on the spot. And this happened to be a guy they put in the spot, and great.
Guy.
They noted they had I think hundreds of applicants for the position. So there's definitely some criteria to work through. And so hey, listen, congrats to you, Joe Cruz, man of Lincoln,
Yeah,
Nebraska.
Joe. Hey, Joe, you want to be on the episode? I would congratulate you in person, but I've been
Absolutely.
bested, and that's fun. It's fun. Good, Casey. Let's say good marketing to follow through.
I dig it. I'm with you there, man. All right, so let's talk about another list that has recently come up. And this one's actually out of Yahoo Finance, which I'm
Of all places.
interested to quote here for it. That's for sure. And this is the top 15 pizzas that are quote unquote better than delivery. Now, I'll share this to start with because again, I really do appreciate that they open up the article here with a methodology. So they compiled a list from the 15 highest quality frozen pizza brands that taste better than delivery. We reviewed similar articles from sources including Delish, Food Network, and Tasting Table, and also looked for best-selling pizza brands on retail websites including Walmart and Target. Then we collated a list of the 15 highest quality frozen pizza brands and ranked them based on the average customer rating across the two sites and used the total number of reviews to break the tie. Please note that we set a minimum threshold of 100 reviews to rank the pizza brands on the list. So, whatever the criteria was, at least it is listed out in that way,
Very
so
fair.
that we
Very fair.
can go through it. You can give us your own opinions on what that if you're okay with that criteria. I don't know if was it Target and Walmart. Sorry, yes, Walmart and
Yeah.
Target represent the full spectrum of the pizza
groceries.
universe.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's no bias in the customer that shops at one or the other. Maybe they're thinking Target's a higher end consumer, Walmart is a lower end consumer. Even though I mean, I go to both, it don't make a difference to me. But I mean, I'm general. I'm kind of ranking it that way, and maybe that just captures a broad spectrum versus two higher end or two lower end. I don't know, whatever. Here they come.
Remind me who was number one. I forget.
Yeah. So let me go through the downside first. And then
Oh,
we'll
oh,
build up. We'll build up.
you're
So
gonna
listen,
build some suspense. Love it.
number
That's why he's a man.
15 number 15, Jack's Pizza. I don't know it. Number 14, a great value frozen pizza. Number 13, Market Pantry frozen pizza. Number 12, Tombstone. Number 11, Newman's Own. Okay. Number 10, Jim, interested. Have you ever had one of these? The Screamin' Sicilian. I've seen this often, but I haven't personally
Yeah.
purchased it before.
They're
All
good.
right.
They're decent.
Okay.
Decent.
All
Top
right.
10.
Okay.
Top 10.
Okay. All right. They're there. Number 9, Motor City Pizza. Number 8, Red Baron. I'm also just quite brief pause. I don't know if you've recently seen anything I've put out there in the universe, but I was really sad to hear that Red Baron is no
Oh,
longer
pour one out.
making breakfast pizzas. And this is apparently, it's been a minute, and I feel bad that I haven't had them in quite some time. But that one really hit me hard, man. I didn't know that, and I found out, and I went down a sad tailspin after hearing
Anyone who follows Will, he did a montage to them. I don't know what I call it, a montage where he poured out some shreds for our pizzas. It was sad. It was, you know, I shed a tear. They were a great way to wake up after a bender, which you and I have often, given that we have kids and never do anything fun anymore. So
This is why they went out of business. Everyone
This
had
is
kids,
why.
and they're no longer
Yeah.
eating breakfast
And
pizzas.
no longer eating breakfast pizza. Sorry,
Sorry,
Red Baron.
everyone. Red
It's on me.
Baron,
It's on
Red
me.
Baron is still guys is still there. Just to clarify, it's just the breakfast pizzas that went out.
Just
So,
breakfast pizza.
all right, number 7, Collie Power. Never had this one. It's Collie Power is a vegan frozen food packaged food brand. Its products include vegan pasta, pizza bites, and other frozen food items. I'm just not familiar with it. All right. Number 6, DiGiorno. Um, that was up there, right? I would say so.
Fine. Not hurting anybody.
Yeah, that's fair. Interesting. Okay. Well, I lost the rest of our article. Okay. Oop, there we go. Come on, keep on scrolling. I think number 5. Number 5 is fresh cheddar. Have you ever had this one before? Fresh cheddar?
No, never heard of it. Nope.
I know it's definitely by here. It reminds me of like, I don't know, for some reason when I see it, it reminds me of like Westchester. I don't know visual similarity to it, but when I read it, it's there, and I'm from Westchester, so that's probably why. I don't know, man. It's all right.
Probably.
Number 4, Milton's. An average ranking of 4.6 out of 5. I'm unfamiliar too. Number 3, CPK, California Pizza Kitchen, with a 4.6 out of 5 based on more than 1,300 reviews. Number 2, Totino's, also a 4.6 out of 5, but they did have over 6,300 total reviews. So that was one of those tiebreakers that they noted from the rules side of that. And number 1, Home Run Inn. I wasn't expecting Home Run Inn to knock it out of the park, but apparently they have. Congratulations to you, Home Run Inn. I'm sure no one's ever used that pun before for you, but I've never had a Home Run Inn pie. Jim,
really?
What about you?
Yeah, I mean, good Chicago boy, Chicago chain. They're very good. Buttery crust, gray on the grill. That's kind of their thing. Yeah, I buy that actually. I don't surprised they're this popular outside of the Midwest, but Home Run Inn, a good pie. And Totino's, listen, party pizza. You know what it is. Anyone not rating them a 5 stars, you need to reevaluate yourself, because they are the finest culinary pizza we can have with proper expectations. So shame on you. I'm sure, right? You temper your expectations appropriately, and party pizza's there for you. It's always there for you.
That's a great way to explain it. I'll leave it there. And I will note just let's call it the sheer volume difference between number 1 and number 2. Although Home Run Inn was ranked 4.8, there are 841 reviews as opposed to Totino's 6,300 and change reviews that did only garner a 4.6 though. So
yeah. So
right.
good list.
Hey,
good list, fun list.
Yeah. If you think? If you know another style that missed it, let us know. Happy to hear more about them.
Or send us some. We'll try them live.
Yeah. I'm happy. Tell me which one you like. I'm more than happy to give them a whirl.
Absolutely.
Right?
Try anything.
Yeah, for sure, man. Anything twice, right? That's your motto. Dude.
Anything twice.
Just so it was. All right, let's talk about Tony G. Let's go to San Fran. An interesting offering here. This one's covered by San Fran Eater. And this is Tony G. Tony's in North Beach is going to be offering a tasting menu for pizza. So I'm pretty interested in hearing a little bit about that. Fans have been asking for it for years. Finally, Tony's Pizza Napolitana is rolling out a one-of-a-kind pizza tasting menu. So I'll note here, guys, from the article, the Pizza Around the World tasting menu experience costs $500 for the table, which can accommodate up to 6 diners. Though you're welcome to try and tackle 7 pizzas with fewer people if you want. Seating will be available Wednesday through Sunday, 5, 7, and 9 p.m. So interesting. So it looks like you're going to get a pie from kind of like all around the world. I mean, Tony does a ton of different styles of regional kind of play off of this. Sounds cool. What do you think?
Right?
Starting point.
It's cool. We've talked about tasting tables, with pizza kind of becoming a thing, and I'm starting to see it, and I love it. Right? You can try a lot of different type of, toppings and variants, and kind of explore, but you're not committed to a whole pizza. So, I kind of think this is going to be a thing. This could be the move, and the master kind of starting it, I think, is kind of only appropriate. So excited. Price tags maybe a little bit higher than I would have thought, and I'm sure there's some pomp and circumstance around it, as there should be. So, but boy, I like the idea, right? I mean, I do that with you and a couple buddies, right? Try a different couple pies, and that sounds like a great time. Couple pitchers or bottles of wine, and
I agree. Well, you can pair this with your optional wine pairing as well. 2 different tiers, $45 per person, and a second $60 per person.
Why not both? Right?
Yeah. Hey, why not, man? You only need 3 people at the table to participate. That's it. So sounds cool, though, right? I mean, I like the idea. It sounds fun. We've seen variations of it, and I know we were talking about in Raleigh, Mission Pizza, who's doing like an omakase style, right? But the same idea. We read about just one the other day in Hong Kong, who's just picked up, started to do one as well. It's cool. Any kind of variation of this is interesting, right? This is kind of a little different with the whole pie style and multiple people sharing as opposed to the individual portion kind of idea. But hey, man, chance to eat more slices? Absolutely. Why not?
Yeah, and especially a pizzeria that does 2, 3, 4 kind of styles. I think this is fun. Sign me up.
Especially someone that's going to do like good pizza in these styles too, right? It's not just like he does the styles. Like Tony kills every pizza that like exists in general. So like,
Smashing
I'd be
it,
more
right?
than happy to have any of these.
Right. But even I'm thinking of my one of my favorite Chicago tavern places. They do a whole bunch of different, because they're a Polish restaurant too. So you like a Polish pie and Italian beef. Just that, how fun would it be to bring out like 6 of those and go to town? And I don't know. I think this is gonna be a thing. And if it's not, I think we should make it a thing.
I'm in, man. I love it. I love it. The more pizza, the better. I feel like you kind of get way different experience, right? But we've talked about 1 or 2 of these like buffet style kind of offerings, right? And I know one of the major celebs doing it, right? Gordon Ramsay has a buffet style pizza offering as well that he's bringing, completely different in the idea, right, of like what it is, but it's that idea of the variation, right, to it. So I don't know. I'm with you, man. I hope we see more of them.
I do too. There's something different between the buffet and this. I think this had just a little more. Really though, I think it's a little more choreographed and refined.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like I'm downgrading it by putting these 2 together, and I don't mean to. I'm merely mentioning another way to have a multitude of different offerings of pizza. Not that I would put them in the same bucket, for sure. So please, no hate comments there on that one. All right, let's shoot over to NBC News. I thought this one was interesting because I feel like you might have some experience with it. You're probably more. Well, tell me, are you more baking stone or baking steel guy?
I'm a steel guy, but I'm been around the block on both.
Okay, fair point. I figured so much. So this one is out of NBC News, and this is top-rated pizza stones to buy in 2024. I'm interested, Jim, if any of these strike you as you come along. Hans Grill Pizza Stone, Nordic Ware Pizza Zone Set, Cuisinart, sounds like a standard offering. Weber Gourmet BBQ System Pizza Stone with Carry Rack, You think you need the carry rack for these kind of items? I feel like I've seen a couple of them before with a little
No.
rack, right, that you can kind of bring along with you.
You should not be touching that stone in any way,
Right?
shape, or form.
This
Right?
just
You should not be
seems
moving that.
like your hands would get underneath this, and I feel like I'd be
Oh,
close to the edge of the stone. This just seems very simple.
you're going to shatter it if you take it out of the oven. Right.
Yeah.
And I've shattered a lot of pizza stones. And why I don't use them? Because you take them out of the oven, or it's cold in the house and rush air, you will crack them. Right. So you should not be transporting those stones. You should leave them be. They are a lot more fragile than you'd think thermally.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Good point. Let's finish out the list here. What else we have? We have who else was up here? Okay, so there's a Weber one we just talked about. Unicook Pizza Stone. I wasn't familiar with it. I kind of appreciate the square one just from a shape perspective. There's a little bit more room to it, or it's multi-use. You could stack some other things on it, like a baking sheet, if you're going to bake something on a stone. I find it interesting. Here we go. A large 15-inch
There it
cast
is. Big
iron
boy.
pizza pan. I feel like this would be the direction you would be going. Or
I have one.
recommendation
I
you'd
have
put out
one in
there.
my oven right now. So the exact thing.
I don't know if this one was no. Okay, Honey can do rectangular pizza stone. I'm assuming pictured is the round though, just to make note of that. And here's the OG, the baking steel original. Now,
so
go
yeah,
ahead.
no, you've got the next you've got the other pizza steel. I'm a nerd about this, and I have access to steel. Don't follow up question that. There's a difference between carbon steel and stainless steel when it comes to stones and treating them. I'm a stainless steel guy because it actually conducts less and it's a little bit slower and mimics a stone a little bit more. Plus, it's not going to rust. You don't have to cure it like you would carbon steel. So, the stainless offering is kind of it if you can get thick enough. Again, there's probably a whole book related to that. But listen, stones are cool, right? They're relatively cheap. I remember when they were hundreds of dollars at Bed Bath & Beyond. There was one option. Now there's a ton, right? So it's fun to play with. It's fun to finish your pizzas on them or cook on them. They are fussy. You're going to crack them. Just it's the expense. Plan on it. But if you really want to get fun, get a good stainless steel pizza steel. And you can do a lot with it. And it's not as fussy as a carbon steel or a cast iron.
Okay. All right. Stainless steel is the way to go. I got it. No, I appreciate that, man. What does one pay for a stainless steel?
I haven't paid for one in a while, but they're expensive. They're going to be over $100.
Okay, I got you. Am
Yeah,
I 250 or am I below that?
You're going to be between 1 and 2, right? It's all about thickness, right? Mm-hmm. Thicker the better, right? You want at least to me a third of an inch, I'd say. And yeah, you're going to pay for it. And unfortunately, steel prices have gone through the roof in the past couple of years. But yeah, you get a good. And listen, I've had carbon steels where you accidentally get something wet and you don't realize it, and then you go in, they're rust. So they're fussy, and they conduct a little bit too fast for me. So yeah, stainless is the way to go. Good mid ground.
Interesting. Okay, I didn't think about the actual conductivity of it, being that it's going to heat that much faster, which you would think. I would think you would conceptually, right, baseline to be like, great, more heat the better, but you're going to get a way different cook than the stone when your underside's cooking faster than above, right? Completely. So
and that's exactly it, right? Your oven's not going to get, we talked about this, much over 500. And if your steel is way too hot giving off, right? A stone is a ceramic. It's going to absorb slow and it's going to give slow, but it's going to keep that temperature a long time. A stainless is kind of the next step.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
Can you tell you have an engineer as a co-host here or something?
Absolutely. All right, cool, dude. I appreciate that. Good walkthrough of these. So definitely get one. Get something. Get something.
Let's try it. Yeah.
All right, cool. I think you're gonna like this style. This is, to be honest, this is why this one caught my attention. So we're this one out of the Atlanta Journal Constitution. Midwesterners can get a taste of home at Ackworth's Generations Pizza. Style of pie popular in the Quad Cities area generally isn't found in Georgia.
Generally isn't found anywhere outside of the Quad Cities.
I was going to say it's probably even less in Georgia, but anywhere, right? In that perspective. This pie just caught my attention with this stock pile of chips on top of it. I mean, this is almost like a ludicrous amount of chips on this taco pizza. Um, but some of these also caught my attention here. This half and half combination of a barbecue pulled pork and buffalo chicken. Um, one more down here. I'm intrigued with this half and half option, Jim, because I feel like something about this just really boggles my mind. I feel like and you correct me if I'm wrong in other parts of the country, but when you're getting like a real unique style, right? Like buffalo chicken pizza or a taco pizza, you're getting the full pie. Like I'm not
Yeah.
making half of that for you, right? I'm doing the whole shebang with it. And this one here, which is half taco on the left and half German toppings of sausage, Canadian bacon, sauerkraut, and onions on the right. I just something about this just doesn't like compute with me that like you could do this. This is half and half. Save me. What do you think, man?
I like quad C's is a wild style, right? So they've got molasses and malt in the dough. It's very savory sweet. You use scissors, not a pizza cutter. You cut it into strips, right? And they're known for these weird things, right? The taco pies, the buffalo chip, exactly what it shows.
Yes.
And you do split it because that's just what they do, and it's such a
Really? This is
regional
a
bizarre
thing?
thing. Though it's a thing. It is absolute thing. You get half taco, half sausage, pepperoni. Yes, and it's totally cool. Totally cool part of the process. But I think part of why they cut it in the strips to help facilitate that. But yeah, this is Quad Cities, and I've aside from one place in Chicago that closed Roots, I've never heard of it outside of Iowa, Illinois.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
cool,
agreed.
right? Cool to see again a regional style. It's a regional style because it's elsewhere and it's known. And it's a thing. You never see another style do the taco pizza with a bag of Fritos on top. But here we
No,
are, right?
no, definitely not. I could totally get down with each of those as like their own, but the idea of it just being half, I feel like if I saw that order come in, I'd be like, "What?" I'd be like, "No, no." But this is a thing, so okay, man, I'm
It's
rolling
a
with
thing.
it. I'm
Think
rolling
about it,
with it.
right? You can try two of the slices, right? You can share. It's just like we talked about, right? It's part of the experience.
I'm down for half pies, just to be clear.
Yeah.
A half pepperoni, half something else, like the standard type offerings. Maybe I'm just so much more like familiar with them that like
Yeah.
that makes sense to me. But when they get more like complex, that's when I'm like, is it really staying on the half? Is it going to get on the other half? Do I now have like a hybrid? Do I have a hybrid slice of one of them, which is okay too at times?
Yeah.
But I
I
just
think
feel
that's
like
fun. Yeah.
all right,
Well,
whatever, it's fine. What do I
if
know?
anyone, again, the second shameless plug, if anyone needs a recipe, if you typed in Quad Cities pizza recipe, you'd get a really good one. I think that's all I'll say on that.
I have a feeling as if anyone types in any of these pizza recipes in general, I think Jim's probably gonna have one for you. But you know what, Jim? I don't think you're gonna have. I don't think you're gonna have this swag from
Not yet.
WDWNT.com. New Disney Eats pizza ear headband, lounge fly, and spirit jersey available at Disney World. Apparently, Disney is going to have a number of pizza swag items. Are you running down there, Jim, to check these out? Do you need these pizza ears? I guess you would if you were going.
If I was there, I'd buy them for my daughter. I don't know that I'm going to make a special trip. It seems over the top even for Disney, right? Are you a Disney guy? Is this something you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go pick up a
Oh,
set for the kids?
went
Or
once. We're not going
yeah,
back.
you go once, right?
Yep, that's it.
So I
Hey,
listen.
if
I'm
you're
sure. I'm sure it's gonna make someone's day, and to them,
yeah.
good for them.
Hey,
Awesome.
if I was going back and I had some pizza mouth ears or a pizza backpack, totally cool. I'd be fine
Yeah,
with it. But
yeah.
I'm not headed down to get this. That's for sure.
Same page in this one, I think.
Yeah, fair point
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
All right, let's talk a heavy dip that I'm assuming has cream cheese in it, along with all the other Midwestern dips that originate, or sour cream, whatever. Which one do you want to put in there, or mayo? Right, one of the
Pick one.
trifecta that
All
exists in
three,
all
probably.
these tips. This one from out of Eating Well, and this is an article by Sarah Haas who picked this up, and this is for Joy Bauer is the author of it of the recipe. Joy Bauer just turned spinach artichoke dip into a pizza, and here's how to make it. So I'll start there, Jim. In general, are you interested in a spinach artichoke pizza to start
Ooh, I try I think twice. California style,
with?
right? Of course. I can see those flavors playing, right?
Yeah.
There you have me. You haven't
Okay.
lost me yet.
Yeah.
Oracle, you're about to, but you haven't lost me yet.
So let me pull up the picture of this one. It, I'm not. I'm gonna try a slice, right? Because somebody made it, and I'm
Yes.
obviously gonna eat it. Am I intrigued by it? It could be the crust that's slightly off-putting to me, and how I think this is gonna weigh like 27 pounds a slice
27
is
pounds.
what I'm thinking specifically. But I don't know.
I want to say Christy did something with spinach and artichokes that looked amazing, right? A nice Neapolitan pie, light, right? Light on cheese, heavy on the artichoke, right? It was an artichoke pizza. If she didn't, she had something like it. That I'm into. I'm with you. This looks like a Pillsbury crust. No offense, Pillsbury crust, but that's what it looks like.
Yeah,
And it looks
yeah.
like a lot of just shredded cheese on top. And this is heavy. You're gonna have a stomach ache after that. Sorry. You are,
I would
right?
agree. I would agree. I think. Listen, they did. Joy did lighten it up here. It is a Greek yogurt, right? This is the substitution. I don't want to offend you, Jim, or any other Midwesterners that this was substituted with Greek yogurt instead of the other three. But I think that's why this isn't Eating Well, as opposed to one of the other options.
Post the
But
tasting table.
but yeah, all right. I mean, I give it a light of day. That's all we got.
Yeah, I appreciate the concept, and to them, I hope everyone who makes it enjoys it a ton.
All right. So I thought one more article here that picked up my attention. I'll say that, and this one is actually out of Axios, and I feel like we've been talking about this a little bit lately. And the Axios is covering another article here that was done. This one is new career on the rise, pizza influencer. So, why it matters. Pizza is a big business, and this week, that more pizza is sold in the U.S. than any other, in part because the Super Bowl and Valentine's Day. They just put this out there. So there was a list that was populated, if you are familiar with it, that came out in PMQ announcing the top pizza influencers. I think there's probably talk about that one next time. There's been a number of back and forth about who's on that list and are they truly a pizza influencer, whatnot. But Jim, I don't know. In general, man, can you be a pizza influencer? Is it a good thing? Do we like it? Where do you stand on it?
I mean, I had so many people send me this over the past week. I mean, over a dozen, right? I think you can, but there's different styles, right? Are you going to pizza places and doing the cheese pull and doing a thing? Are you doing like a lot of our friends do, where they make the pie and they show it off, right? That's pretty cool, and you're ambassador for somebody. So I think it's a thing, but influencer just has such a connotation nowadays, where you're hollow. Not that that's true or not, but I feel like it's what the connotation is. And I feel like a lot of our friends aren't, right. They're true artisans, rather than someone who's trying to do a stunt with pizza, or I can eat 40 pizzas in a sitting or something, whatever. So it exists, but there's a grain of salt and there's an asterisk behind some of those, right? You agree?
We are in agreement on this one for sure. I think a lot of people that we know are there because they generally love pizza and want to promote it, as do a number of the other foods that they do enjoy and talk about. And I think there's a real difference when you're at least approaching it with some sort of approach of understanding like who it is, who made it, why they do it, what's the food like. Give me something that I care about and like you can appreciate. If you're just there, like you kind of noted with the cheese bowl, come eat this, this is great, and there's soulless, and you use the word hollow. I'm with you. I would go as far as to say soulless of putting something out there like that. That's when I think you get the negative connotation for it. So that one's a bit tough. When others get referred to as influencers in the same one, when people are truly artists with it that are doing it, right? They're trying to promote the food, the genre behind it, the brand, the lifestyle of it, not just one spot. So we're in agreement.
There's a spectrum, but there are good ones out there, and a lot of them are friends of the pod. So
yeah, for sure, man, for sure. All right, cool. Listen, that was fun today.
Oh, it's great.
Jim, in general, man, tell us, not that you haven't, but where can we find you and all of your amazing articles along the way?
I appreciate that. If you type in Jim Cooks Food Good wherever you consume your social media, you'll run into me and one of my recipes some way.
I love it, guys. All right. Listen, that's going to be it for today. Thank you so much, guys. Listen, please like and subscribe with us. I Need Pizza Club on YouTube. It would be great. We've got a lot of content that's being built out on the site. There's a lot of different nights to check out, or a lot of different pods that we've got out there to check out. So please look at our content, like and subscribe. Pizza Club on YouTube. And that note, guys, thanks very much for everyone coming on, signing on with us tonight. And we'll check you next week for another episode. Thank you all.
Good night.